Assalaamu, Alaikum, brothers and sisters. I've been closely following the disturbing incidents of the Quran burning with the approval and protection of the Swedish government.
According to a statement from authorities, Morocco condemned the act, which coincided with the start of the Muslim festival of Eid al-Adha.
The reaction from the Muslim Ummah has been quite intense. Initially, I thought that Muslim countries would simply express their disapproval through diplomatic means, but as more and more incidents of Quran burning emerged, the calls for stricter measures and harsh penalties have been growing.
It's part of that perpetual Islamophobia that just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I'm terrified to think where this is going to end.
Freedom of speech is very important, but I think burning a religious book, it's not freedom of speech. It's another thing, it's a provocation.
I got really excited when I heard that the Iraqi government is seriously considering requesting the extradition of the person responsible for banning the Quran. We heard that he's an Iraqi citizen, so they can face legal consequences in their home country. It's still uncertain whether this proposal would succeed, but if it does, it would be a significant development in the ongoing trend of Quran burning in Sweden. I understand that some people might argue that the accused individual may not receive a fair trial in Iraq. However, let's not forget that even Saddam Hussein himself was judged and sentenced to death by an Iraqi judge. So a fair trial monitored by the European Union and conducted in accordance with the existing laws of the Iraqi government or constitution is definitely possible. I urge the Iraqi government to stand firm on their path and continue to pursue the extradition of the perpetrator so that justice can be served. By extraditing that Iraqi guy responsible for banning the Quran, it sends a powerful message that we won't tolerate religious intolerance and hate speech. It shows that the authorities are taking these offenses seriously and are dedicated to upholding values like respect, diversity, and religious freedom. Think about it, guys. When people see that there are real consequences for Quran burning and similar acts, it can really make them think twice before doing something similar. The extradition and the subsequent legal proceedings will make it crystal clear that those who engage in such offensive behavior will face severe repercussions. This alone can deter others who might be considering committing similar acts of religious provocation and sacrilege. Plus, the whole process of extradition and the coverage of the legal proceedings would draw a lot of attention to the issue of Quran burning. It's not something that should be or that can be brushed aside or ignored. It will raise public awareness about just how serious this offense is and spark important discussions and debates about the significance of religious tolerance and freedom of expression. So, extraditing the individual responsible isn't just about holding them accountable. It's about making a statement and bringing about a change in society. It's about ensuring that everyone understands the gravity of this action and work towards fostering an environment of respect and acceptance for all religious beliefs in the West and around the world. The exciting news is that following an emergency meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the Saudi-based organization called for member states to take quote-unquote unified and collective measures to stop countries banning copies of Islam's holy book. The Secretary General Hussein Ibrahim Taha said the burning of the Quran were not mere ordinary Islamophobia incident and urged countries worldwide to adhere to international law, which clearly prohibits any advocacy of religious hatred. Now, here is something important I want to share. As Muslims, it's crucial for us to remain composed and show restraint whenever such unfortunate events occur. We need to approach these situations with maturity and avoid engaging in extreme actions. The people behind these acts of hatred are intentionally trying to provoke us and paint a negative image of Islam to the world. But let's not fall into the trap. Instead, let's respond with wisdom and adhere to the established rules of engagement.
Sometimes the best way to respond is not by directly confronting the people who are doing this. Sometimes you have to use more subtle means of getting your message across and bringing about change in society. If an incident like that happens, if you handle it the wrong way, it just blows out of proportion. And people become more, the conversation changes. People become now more interested in like the reaction than the original action itself. And then people
that's why they do it, right? Like that's why they burn the Quran. It's usually far right groups or individuals who are doing it. And they have an agenda, right? They want you to react in a certain way.
Yes, and then
Muslims comply.
Yeah, and then whatever they have done, just whatever message they were trying to draw attention to, just becomes more overblown, and their goals are met. They achieve their purpose that way. So we have to be wise as Muslims and recognize this to be happening. So. One thing that will help us to be wise is to recognize that it is the way of God that He has created such a world in which there will be positive messages and there will be its contrary. The Quran says, for example, in the 6th chapter, referring to what was happening with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the opposition that he was facing and so on. The Quran says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. Thus, we have placed for every prophet an enemy that comes in the form of Satans from among humans and jinkind. يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. They will inspire each other with speeches of like decorated speeches. So the Quran is already acknowledging that God knows this is happening and He's allowing it to happen this way. And it will.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're helping us to reach others. Well, until next time, Assalaamu Alaikum.